Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar. I'm pretty sure you already know the topic of today, but in case you don't, well, today we're going to be talking about why every CEO should build a personal brand, should invest in LinkedIn in 2026, and personal brand is the direct consequence of investing in LinkedIn. I'm sure you noticed that I put CEO in the title of the event, but I just want to let you know that this things that I'm going to share with you can easily be extended to everybody beyond CEOs, founders, perhaps, freelancers, entrepreneurs, or just people who want to build simply a personal brand, even when they're working full time. Because let's share what needs to be shared. Building a personal brand is not something reserved just for entrepreneurs, it should be part of many people's daily life because the benefits of building a personal brand are huge. And just to mention the most obvious is that you spread your name in town, which will unlock a lot of doors. And as a consequence, if that is your goal, you can also build sales for your business. But before I dive deep into the presentation, I want to quickly introduce who I am. Well, my name is Artur Perela-Glukowski, currently living in Finland. I was born in Ukraine, grew up in Italy, so mixed background. Professionally speaking, I've been working as a search engine optimizer for the last 4 years. And in the last 2 years, I also embraced the AI SEO, GEO, AEO path, call it as you wish, because there are multiple names to indicate this new niche. And while building my career as an SEO and GEO, I also started building my LinkedIn. So everything started out of a passion. And then along the way, I started sharing my knowledge with other founders, other entrepreneurs, other even students. I help them build their career along the way. And this is how I transformed a passion into something that goes beyond passion and became just a work. I work with brands that are smaller, bigger, maybe you know some, depends where you are, maybe you don't know them, depends by your region. I work with NordVPN. I work in the past with SEMrush. Then they hired me to sponsor their content on LinkedIn. So different portfolio, different companies. But now it's time to dive deep into the presentation of today's topic on how to build a personal brand in 2026. Quick note before I start. I'm a person, I like to follow scripts during presentations. So if it looks like I'm looking down, I'm actually looking down because I have my lovely notepad. And here I just have some notes that I consider very important. And you will notice that I often look down during the presentation. First part, building a personal brand is important, but how to build it has on LinkedIn has deeply changed in the last 3 years. So how has it evolved? How can you adjust your processes to build personal brand in 2026? Well, let me tell you a story. When I started in 2023, it was way easier on LinkedIn. You didn't have you didn't need great graphics, you didn't need a lot of high quality content. Posting was good enough to start building 10,000 views per post. I remember those days when I was posting carousels, 10,000 views were pretty easy. Now LinkedIn became harder. Impressions are harder to get. We have more people on the platform and the quality has incredibly increased. Why is it so? Well, because people realize that LinkedIn is a powerful social media to build their personal brand and to grow their business. So, my suggestions, if you want to grow your personal brand on LinkedIn 2026, is start building trust among your audience. What do I mean? I mean that why LinkedIn became so complex. LinkedIn became so complex also because of AI generated slop. Everybody is capable of generating AI slope in 2026. How can you bypass this AI slope and position yourself as an expert in your niche? Well, you need to build trust. How to build trust? Try to put something unique in your content. I'll make you some examples. How many people are disposed to record themselves in a video and to post videos? I'm pretty sure not many people are disposed to be filmed and to go with videos on LinkedIn for many reasons. They don't have time. They are a bit shy to do that. They just don't feel confident. So if you want to build trust, find a topic, a format that is going to distinguish you from the rest. Videos could be one. Later on, I will share some tips on how you can quickly create videos to build trust. The second thing that you could use to build trust is position yourself with a clear graphic, brand color and graphic that is different from the rest. And now we are in the AI era, so it's pretty easy to play with graphics. I'll make you one example. Now, I didn't prepare it in advance, sorry about that, but if you visit my LinkedIn profile and you go to the carousels, you will notice that I play a lot with visuals on the first page of the carousels. That's part of my personality, but I even feature Gandalf from The Lord of the Rings, or I feature the finger of Master Yoda from Star Wars in my carousels, just because I like to play with these graphics, and people started to remember me because of that. It sounds silly, but if you position yourself with a specific graphic, with a specific visual identity, or even specific tone of voice of your posts, people will remember you more. So videos could be the first tool to build trust. Infographics, images, visuals could be the other one. The third element is put, and I'm still in this part, put personality traits in your content. I'll make you one example. Are you a person who likes to make jokes? Well, why don't you make jokes in your LinkedIn content? Do you like humor? Put some humor in your LinkedIn content. I'm not saying stop being professional. I'm just saying be professional and at the same time put some personality traits. Don't be afraid of that. Don't follow the corporate script, because LinkedIn is no longer the corporate scripted social media that it used to be 4 years ago. Do I want to follow the corporate script? Well, it's going to be way harder to build your brand on LinkedIn and to build trust among people, because you're going to be similar to hundreds of thousands of other content creators out there. Let's move on to the next part on how LinkedIn changed in the last 3 years. Well, it was already partially true 3 years ago. You had to hyper personalize your positioning, and in 2026 is even more so. When I started, I picked one specific niche, and I went since the beginning with LinkedIn. Sorry, I started since the beginning. I started with SEO, and I suggest you do the same. Especially many beginners do this error. They don't know what to post in the beginning, so they post about everything. And I understand this behavior because you are a beginner, but don't do that. Pick one, maximum two niches, and go ballistic on those two niches. Stick to it for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, and you're going to position yourself as a specialist. Did you hear that I just told you stick to that niche for 18, 24 months? Well, that's because I really mean it. Many drop out of LinkedIn after 3, 6 months, 9 months, but you will not build a long-lasting personal brand in that way. The real winners are those who stay for 2, 3, 4 years. In that way, even if you don't build a huge audience, people will remember you. And it's going to be like a snowball effect. More connections, more business opportunities, more podcast invitation, and so on and so forth. Depends by what you need. Last suggestion on how building a personal brand has evolved in 2026. Now we have AI in the mix, as I told you before. So why not to use this AI? Many people call it the cyborg method. What do I mean is put AI in your content creation flow. Now, here, allow me to get out of the Canva presentation and to make you one concrete example, the Reddit example. So let's assume that in this room we have people in the communication management niche. Communication management. So you want to find content ideas about communication management. This is how you should do. Go to Google, write sitereddit.com, communication management. Click enter, and this is how you already have an encyclopedia of content ideas to generate. Now, I think I picked the wrong niche because I see very little comments. But anyways, let's assume that I see a lot of comments. So now you need to pick your content ideas. Let's go with the first. How does a communication management plan fit into the what? Into the agile world. Cool. So save this keyword. You can even create a sheet. Put it here. Let's go with the second content idea. I'm just picking randomly, but here the parameter that you should take into account is how many comments are in this subreddit. Oh yeah, this is amazing. For example, you see 50 plus, but it's about how do you handle client communication, account management. Okay, could be, let's assume that it's suitable to your niche. Save this one. Now, what you should do is, I will not move forward with the explanation of this. I will not show you exactly the tool that I use just because I need to open too many tabs, but listen carefully to me here. Once you find 10 of these content ideas, let's assume that you saturate all these rows until 10th. Take each of these content ideas one by one and split it into two. So one here, and that one is going to be here. Split them, visually split them just to make it easier for you to follow the spreadsheet. And for each content idea, sub-content idea that you extracted from the main one, you can even skip just this phase, honestly, if you don't want to follow this. But let's assume that you want to create two subtopics. Take each of these subtopics, go to Claude, to ChatGPT, to Gemini, and ask to generate a LinkedIn post that follows the best rules of a LinkedIn post. Once you have the first draft, don't be perfectionist. One, allow some imperfections for your posts. Perfection is going to be your worst enemy if you want to grow on LinkedIn. Second, don't let AI produce the final piece of content. Always tweak your content. Otherwise, you end up in the AI slop batch. So you have a good piece of content, good enough, generated with Claude, tweak it, put some personality, some humor, some jokes based on your geographic location. Maybe you have some specific jokes that only your fellow people will understand. Put those elements, and this is how you have already 20 text-based posts. And this is already 1 month of content. This is how you can build your personal brand in 2026 thanks to the cyborg method. And this was not possible 3 years ago. You had to write each content on your own, or at least you had to spend way more because of AI to create content. Now, let's move on to the next slide. But before I do that, let me check the timer. Okay, I need to speed up. We are already at the 14th minute. How to stand out here? Let's start from the fact that we want to stand out because we think that everybody is posting on LinkedIn, therefore it's super saturated. And I told you something similar to this in the previous slide when I told you that all the world now, we have more people on LinkedIn. yeah, it's true that we have more people on LinkedIn, but not everybody is on LinkedIn. We have this misconception that everybody is on LinkedIn, as we had this misconception 5, 6 years ago that everybody was on Instagram, and 3 years ago, 4 years ago, actually before 2020, we thought that everybody was on TikTok. The point is that there is always space for no new people, but you need to gain that space. So first note is not everybody is building a personal brand. Now, I wish I could ask you to raise up your hand in case you are building a personal brand. I will be super curious to see what is gonna be the answer. By the way, through LinkedIn. Copy pasting documents rich, right? Okay, I have already some questions. I will address them later. Let's go back to the presentation. I really wish I could make you raise up the hand and to understand how many people are building a personal brand on LinkedIn right now. And I'm ready to bet not many are doing that. So please remove this first blocker. Believe in your personal brand on LinkedIn because you have space to grow on this social. Now, second thing to stand out, and this is painful, I warn you. The second thing is consistency. As I mentioned before, stick 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, and this is when you're going to see results, unless you are a genius who has a team of content writers helping you. In that case, even 3 months are going to be enough. 6 months are going to be enough to go from 0 to 50,000 followers and to change everything for you. But the majority of us, we don't have a team to help us, right? So consistency is time is our best ally in this situation. And how many times do I suggest you post per week? Well, let's start with 2 posts a week so you don't burn out. What's the ideal range of posting? Between 3 and 5. Between 3 and 5 is the ideal range, which combines mental sanity, because let's be honest, building a personal brand on LinkedIn is not always easy, and the brain can be challenged because we have full-time jobs and we have family. So stick to 3 to 5, and I think you're good to go. Don't you have time for 3 to 5? Go with 2. Don't you have time for 2 posts a week? Go with 1. 1 is better than none. Start slowly, but start. How to stand out? Third point, niche down. I mentioned this already in the previous slide. Pick your niche and stay on it for 12 months. In my case, what I did is I've been posting 3 years, no, actually, 2 years and a half, 3 years, only about SEO, only about SEO. I managed to build my name in the industry. I see that people keep tagging me about best SEO to follow in 2025, 2026, best SEOs experts to follow, yada yada. Once I saw that this thing was a recurring thing happening over and over again, I understood that I was good to expand my niche. And that's when I started posting about LinkedIn. This happened in April, May of last year. I posted only about LinkedIn for 6, 9 months. And then I managed to build also my expertise on LinkedIn, also about LinkedIn and personal branding. So you need to start from one niche, stick to it. When you feel that you are ready to put a little side niche, do that. Follow your gut in this situation. How to stand out? Point 3, challenge the public opinion. What do I mean about beyond these buzzwords? Well, there is one guy, his name is Richard Moore, Moore. I really suggest you follow him on LinkedIn, and he shares a very specific type of post called thought leadership post. Pretty common name, but what he means is take one opinion, widespread in your niche, and challenge that opinion because you don't agree with that opinion. But here you need to be very careful because you don't want to be too harsh in judging that opinion, but at the same time, you don't want to be too soft in not challenging that opinion. So be cocky enough, but don't be too cocky with challenging that opinion because could backfire. And this is how you're gonna stand out and position yourself as a true expert in your niche, because you have a strong point of view on a thing that others will agree and others will disagree. Therefore, you have your own opinion, and this makes you an expert in your niche. Quick advice, actually, no, sorry. Quick note. I think I will answer the questions in the end after the presentation. So let's move on to the next slide, which is how should you balance your personal brand with your business brand? This is a typical question that business founders and CEOs ask me. Sorry if you've listened this words out of the blue, like make the question. This comes from my Italian mother language, so my brain is wired in Italian, therefore I use these words that in English don't make sense. Anyways, this is a question that many founders and CEO ask me. How should you balance your personal brand with your business brand? Personal take, you want to grow on LinkedIn, forget about your company brand, your company page, and go heavy on your personal brand. Why is it so? Here I'm talking about personal profiles, organic reach, which is 5 times, on average, 5 times bigger than the company page. So if you should spend 5 hours a week creating content, and you know that on one side you're going to have 5 times the ROI, which road would you take? I bet you would take the personal profile road because it has a way better visibility. Second suggestion on how to mix personal and company brand: repurpose. Because the company profile won't bring great results, but you still want to run your company LinkedIn page, what you can do is post on your personal profile and repurpose on the company profile. Don't you want to take this road? Do you really want to go with content specifically made for your company profile? Well, then there is a great example, which is SEMrush, the SEO tool company, software house. They have a lot of interesting ideas and just still like an artist adapted to your own company. And they managed to launch some very interesting carousels that are capable of doing 500, 400 likes. Of course, they're huge. Don't expect those numbers in the beginning, but you can use them as a good benchmark and content idea generator. Yeah, indeed. Here I put in the example, I put let me open this. It's the San Valentine SEMrush link example here. So use them as an example and you're going to enjoy the journey. Going back to the presentation, let me go full screen. What content formats should you prioritize? This is a very interesting point. Personal opinion. Now, if I had to start right now, the content I would prioritize is videos. Why and how? Why? Because in my opinion, they are super quick to be made. You go to Reddit, you see a question that people are asking about your niche, you answer that question in 45, 90 seconds, you cut your video using even Instagram edits. If you don't want to download any paid software, you use Instagram edits, available for free on the App Store. You cut it, you add the captions, it's ready to go. You're going to show who you are, so you build trust. And in the same time, videos are text-based. Don't forget, this is text combined with images one after the other. This is what a video is. You can use that text in Claude, ChatGPT, to generate an alternative post, paraphrasing it without changing the meaning. And this allows you in 10 minutes to generate 2 posts. One video, text plus video, the other one, text only. Let's go with 20 minutes. And if you want to invest 20 minutes, the second post, the text can even have a selfie image with a quote taken from the text post. This is why I really like videos, and they can easily be repurposed on multiple platforms: YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram. Second type of content that I would invest right now: text plus image. Okay, so I forgot about the videos. How? I missed one point. If you really want a quick tool for recording, there is also Descript. Descript is a good software that it has a better editing tool than Instagram edits, and also the caption generation is easier. Second part, text plus image. Here you can go with either infographics, but for infographics they take time. So you are be aware that they take time, and here I highly encourage you hire a junior, an external graphic designer, because they take time. A good infographic at least takes 2 hours, at least. So the alternative is go with selfies. People love to see who's behind a brand. Invest more in selfies. Don't go heavy on selfies. Like I see people posting 5 selfies a week. People get a bit tired of that. But at least one selfie per week, one selfie every 10 weeks, or even professional photos. One every 10 days, 7 days is going to be a much appreciated thing, and it boosts your engagement. Carousels. These are the queen and the king of LinkedIn at the moment, but they take time. At least 2 hours, 1 hour and a half, sometimes even 6 hours. When I started, I took 6 hours, 7 hours to create one carousel. Yeah, sounds crazy, but this is what I was doing because I was creating carousels, 40, 50 page long carousels. Don't do that. Stick with 15 pages max, save your time, and create multiple carousels instead of going super heavy on one with 50 pages. Now, let's get closer to the end of this presentation. What's one practical action anyone here can take this month to strengthen their personal brand? Here we have multiple actions, actually. First, think. Don't look at the giants numbers. There is Many of us make this mistake. We benchmark ourselves with people who have been on the dance floor for years, and they have a plethora of assistance with their content. So we cannot benchmark ourselves, solo entrepreneurs, with giants who have multiple people helping them. This is an infographic shared by Andreas Johnson. I really suggest you follow this guy if you're interested about LinkedIn analytics. And this is some of the numbers. If you have from 0 to 5,000 followers, this is the typical reach of your posts. This is the strong reach, and this is the top reach. Are you do you do you think that while you are in the 4,000 follower range, your posts are not performing good? Well, check this infographic first, and then you have a benchmark about your performances. Don't be too harsh on yourself. Second suggestion: don't burn out, aka follow your posting pace. I know people starting super on fire with 7 posts a week, and then they disappear after 3 months because they realize that they cannot combine their mental health, family life, and working out with this posting pace. So stick to your pace, and you will improve later. Use templates that worked. I did the mistake of not using templates. Use templates. I suggest a book here. It's called Steal Like an Artist. I'm not telling you to copy content of the others. Just use templates of the others. Download their script in case we're talking about a video. That script could be about chemistry or physics, and make it about your niche. Here you're not stealing. Actually, you're stealing like an artist, because all the artists, they have a starting point, and then they build on top of that starting point. The other suggestion is be consistent. As I told you, time is our advantage, is our ally. So be consistent. Don't expect results after 3 weeks, 3 months. It won't happen. Last suggestion is outsource if you see that you're not going anywhere. if you see that you tried multiple times and still you didn't make it, you tried 1, 3, 4, 5 times, and there is no way you can combine even one post on LinkedIn per week, but you really want to build your brand because you know that you need it. And I'm not talking about only LinkedIn here. I'm talking also about YouTube, Instagram, whatever. Outsource your services. Better to start in that way rather than not starting at all. And we just hit 30 minutes of this presentation. Thank you to everybody who stood with us till this point, and I think I can move on with the Q&As. So let me close this. And okay, stop sharing the screen. It's being recorded, okay. Okay, so we have, I can see one question. I'm doing a presentation. Thank you so much for the reaction that you're sending. So we have Adam from Singapore, technology recruiter. Nice to meet you all. Likewise, thank you for being with us, Adam. Okay, so we have one question from Marian. I heard that copy pasting ruins reach. I heard that copy pasting ruins reach. Writing on LinkedIn directly happens to be so much better. Is it myth? I heard that copy pasting ruins reach. Writing on LinkedIn directly happens to be much better. Is it myth? Okay, so Marian, this is a very interesting question, and I just answered it in the last slide. Copy pasting does not ruin your reach only, but it ruins your reputation. Because as I told you, steal like an artist is different from stealing. Let's imagine that you want to get inspired by a Van Gogh painting. You can take that Van Gogh painting, and then instead of using his colors and his techniques, you make that painting look cyberpunkish with fluo colors. You're not, at that point, you're not copying Van Gogh anymore. You're stealing like an artist, and you're building your own identity, building up on top of something else. So I agree, copy pasting ruins your reach, but because it ruins your brand. Yeah, and then I see the other part. Writing on LinkedIn directly happens to be much better. Okay, at this point, I don't really know if I answer your first question because I see the second one. But you can even understand what you mean. Okay, I get it. Well, forget what I just said. Copy pasting content from a spreadsheet to a LinkedIn, if this is what you meant, I cannot tell you that it ruins reach. I don't see why it should be, because LinkedIn is a text-based social media. So you can write your text post on Instagram and then copy it to LinkedIn, or you can write it in a Google Notes application and then copy paste to LinkedIn, or you can write it inside spreadsheet and copy to LinkedIn. I don't think this is true. I think this is a myth. There is no sense in damaging the reach because a text post has been created inside another app. Jim Woods says, excellent presentation. Thank you. Thank you, Jim, for joining us. Always nice to read these compliments. Then we have another question from Barbara. What do you use to post your collection of posts daily? Do you use HubSpot? Do you have an AI that does it? No, I don't have HubSpot. I don't have AI that does it. I just have my hands and my brain and my eyes. I don't need. I neither use any presentation scheduling software. I just enter usually at 1:30 p.m. East European time. I enter, I take my content from the spreadsheet, I paste it, I attach the image, I send it online. That's it. I don't think you need expensive tools unless you want to go with analytics. In that case, we go into another domain, and in that case, yeah, you may need a software. But if you're talking just about posting, you can even just enter 10 minutes on your own, post it, you leave LinkedIn. Then here, always related to the question that Barbara asked, I just mentioned spreadsheet, and I just realized that I forgot one suggestion on the last slide. Don't make the mistake that I I did, which is not having a master spreadsheet to group all my past LinkedIn posts. Don't make that mistake. I did a couple of calculations in 2 years because I was not having this spreadsheet. I could not repurpose old content that I posted 6 months ago. What was happening is that for 2 years, I've been creating new content from scratch. I did a couple of calculations of how much time I wasted. I put the hourly salary at 20 euros, and I estimated that because of this bad process that I had, I wasted around 15,000 euros, which is close to $20,000. So please create a spreadsheet, a master spreadsheet, and store your old content there. If you want to have the template, I have it. Just text me on LinkedIn and I'm going to send it to you. Then we have a Marian, related to the previous question. She writes that not in terms of stealing, but in terms of getting your ChatGPT corrected copy and using copy paste function happens to have much less reach than literally typing inside. I cannot tell you anything about this. I never heard it, and like um, last week, no, actually yesterday, even yesterday, I posted a post that I generated with Claude. I spent then 10 minutes tweaking it, putting some elements, and yada yada, and it did 140 likes and 3,000 impressions. So I cannot really confirm this theory. Let's move on to the next question, which comes from Anna. And she asks, what are the most efficient strategies to gain visibility of your business on LinkedIn besides reposting on the founder's personal posts? Actually, yeah, I briefly mentioned this during the presentation, but I must be also honest here because I'm not a big expert in company page management. I'm more of an expert of personal LinkedIn management. But the suggestion I can give you here is enter on SEMrush page and take inspiration from their successful content. They play a lot with carousels, and I see that their templates have been taken by other companies. So they could be a good source of inspiration. The other thing that I could mention is webinars. Organize webinars on behalf of your company page. I don't know much because that is not really my area of expertise, but I try to give my best here. I don't know. Okay, then we have Jim, sorry, Jim. How to link personal passion and values and what really excites us versus personal niche. How to link personal passion and values and what really excites us versus personal niche. Okay. I find I'm constrained in my branding because yeah, I know that feeling. I find I'm constrained in my branding because I want to shape it based on how I will be perceived and how I will win work, your business. I know. This is a typical thing that everybody experiences after months or most likely after years on a platform. You want to be something beyond your personal brand, but you're afraid of losing business. There is no easy answer here. I must be honest. As I mentioned during the presentation, it took me 2 years before feeling confident enough to get out of the niche that I'm building my career in and to put something that is more of a passion on the side, which is LinkedIn. It took me 2 years. For 2 years, 2 years and a half, I felt constrained in the SEO geo niche because it was bringing me money. Because people were perceiving me as an expert in that niche. But after 2 years, I said, okay, now I'm ready enough to put something else on the side. But here we are still talking about business niches. So if you are unsure about something more personal, personal passion, like for example, biking or cliff diving or just mushroom picking, I can tell you that these things are much appreciated by people. So if we are talking about these kind of passions and values, don't be afraid of posting about it, and put at least one post every eight, let's say 20% should be about personal stuff. I hope I answer your doubt, Jim, but I totally understand that feeling. It makes you feel like in a cage. But what to do? This is the reality we're living in. So we should adapt. And but I will be interested to bring this conversation further on LinkedIn if you're interested. Okay, so we have the other question by Barbara. Thank you for being so active, Barbara. Do you send a message to each one that looks at your okay? Do you send a message to each one that looks at your profile? No, of course not, because not everybody is an interesting connection to me. So use connections wisely, because if those connections don't engage with your content or are not in your ICP range, they will damage your LinkedIn reach. Because if you have 1,000 connections and just 1% engages with you, let's say 1%, then it's going to be worse than having a 10% of your connections engaging with your content, because it means that if just 1% is engaging with you, it means that for the algorithm, it means that your content is not really good. This is a bit rough, but this is what the algorithm will think. So send connections to your ICPs and to people that you just consider simply interesting to be connected with, because they are in an issue you love, or you see some cooperation potential, or if they are in your same city or town and you want to connect with them. So moving on to the next question by Marian. We're building international brand. We started from Croatia. Nice. Most of our customers are from Croatia. Our brand page switched to English since we are expanding, but I'm posting in Croatian from a founder's perspective. I tried switching to English and reach was really bad. How did you break that language barrier, and does this happen to you? Thank you for being a guest, Myron. Okay, so here I must be honest. I never tried to post in my mother language, which is Italian. Since the very beginning, I started in English, and it paid back. What I can tell you is that, let's imagine that I do the same. Suddenly, from Italian, I'm bored of posting Italian and switch to English. After 2 years, 6 months, what will happen is that all the connections that used to engage with me, all the followers that have been following me because of my Italian content, suddenly they do not understand what I'm writing. Of course, they will not engage. So, as a consequence, the consequence is that your post will not perform anymore. So this is a natural consequence, and it's like you're not starting from zero, but it's like you're starting from 3. So you go back from 100 to, let's say, to 10. So it's not from scratch, but you need to rebuild an audience. So be patient. And what I can already see that is going to happen is that in 3-6 months, you're going to build a new followers list that are ready to engage with your content, English content. Okay, so we have Jim. Yes, perfectly. My passions are fitness and health, and then it's amazing. Like post about fitness, or and now I don't know which dance you do, but why don't you post as a beautiful photo while you're dancing? First of all, people love people who dance for some reason. Like it's always pleasant to look at that. So just share your passions, but keep in mind that rule that I told you: 20% out of 100%, of course, should be personal. The remaining 70% should be problem solving content, and 10% should be sales solving content. But this is for another webinar. Is there a limit to the responses daily? By let's assume that by responses you mean direct messages. And no, I don't, I'm not aware of a limit of responses, but I'm aware of a limit, of a recommended limit on connection requests. It's not recommended to go with 50 connection requests per day because the algorithm is going to think that A, you take some magic pills to keep up with so many connections every day. Two, you are a bot. So there is a range, an estimated range or ideal range of connection requests, which is around 18, 15, 20, but double check these things. Around 15, 20 should be the max without triggering the algorithm. And we don't see any more questions incoming. So I guess this is the end. Thank you everybody who has been with us. Marian, thank you to you, Marian. It's gonna be nice to connect with you on LinkedIn because um, with all of you who joined this live, because I just see your names and your chat. But it's gonna be nice to connect with you on LinkedIn. And if you have any questions, always reach me out there. It's gonna be my pleasure to answer these questions because honestly, LinkedIn has been a life-changing social for me, and I wish it's gonna be the same for many others. Yeah, great. So my session I already shared on LinkedIn. Nice. Well, I guess see you on LinkedIn.